I'm Candice Hall. I am the Director of Clinical and Recovery Services at the YWCA.
Hi, I'm Breanna Jackson. I'm the Director of Self-Sufficiency at the YWCA. I also serve as the Assistant Director of the Addiction and Recovery Program.
The Hope and Harriet House is a addiction treatment facility, and we house women and their children if they're under the age of 12. We get referrals from DCS and Recovery Works and sometimes some self-pay clients. We work with them on self-sufficiency, working through their addiction, their trauma, helping them to find ways to stay out of that cycle of addiction. We do that through case management services, through groups, through individual therapy. They do live in our facility. It can be anywhere from 6 to 9 months. It is very individualized as well. So we, if somebody finishes the program in 4 months, we don't hold them for 6. If they get everything done, they feel they're confident and ready to be out and do things on their own, then we graduate them. Sometimes people stay longer than 9 months. We've had some people in the program for 16, 17 months. It's really individualized in what our clients need to make sure that they're stable and they have their addiction under control and they feel good about being out in the real world and doing things on their own.
So once you get into the program, you complete the intake process, you get settled in, you'll be assigned a case manager, and your case manager will come alongside you and help you identify your recovery goals and life goals, and they'll be that support and accountability for you throughout the program. If a client is not already connected to a therapist, we'll get them connected to a therapist in-house so that they can have that additional clinical support. We'll get you connected to many of our clinical groups that we have to offer, as well as other additional services maybe that we currently offer at the YWCA, or we have community partnerships because we want to make sure that you have the tools that you need to be successful, not only in your recovery, but to achieve that self-sufficiency long term.
To be diagnosed with a substance use disorder, you do not have to meet all of the criteria. There is a mild, moderate, and severe diagnosis. So anybody that meets 2 or 3 of the criteria can be diagnosed with a mild, and then 5 to 6 is moderate, and then anything over 6, so 7 to 11, you would have a severe substance abuse diagnosis. And that is something that we look at in our program. We do a clinical assessment once somebody fills out an application, and we talk to them about the program and they say, yeah, I want to do that. I do a clinical assessment with them to make sure that, one, they meet that criteria of substance use, but then also to make sure that they're not currently withdrawing, because that's not something that our facility is equipped to handle. So we want to make sure that they get that medical attention first. We also need to make sure that psychologically that they're okay, because we also aren't equipped to handle very severe behavioral health and psychological issues. So that's something that we look at in our clinical assessment, and also medically. If somebody has a lot of medical issues, we don't have a doctor in our program, so we need to make sure that all their medical issues are stable. That's not to say that you can't come into the program with some psychiatric diagnoses or medical diagnoses. We just need to make sure that they're stable and they're being taken care of. So they're seeing their family doctor on a regular basis, or they're seeing their psychiatrist and taking their medications, and then they would be okay to come into our program.
In our program, we serve women over the age of 18 who identify as having a substance use disorder. We also serve women who have their children. They may be involved with DCS, but they have their parental rights, and we do have the opportunity for them to have their children with them in the program, either full-time or part-time based on the need. We also serve pregnant women, so a woman who's pregnant can be in our program. We also serve women who are involved in medication-assisted treatment. So they may need that level of care coupled with, to go along with their substance use disorder. We serve women from across the state. A lot of times we find that our clients may come to us from farther away because it's important for them to be away from their community so that they can focus on their recovery. One of the things that you'll hear in recovery is changing your people, places, and things. So with that, while we're based in Allen County, if someone is in southern Indiana, for example, they may prefer to be in Allen County because they're trying to change their people, places, and things, and that allows them to focus on their recovery. They may have the added benefit of having their children in the program with them, and that could be a great motivator for them in their recovery because they'll be able to keep their family intact.
With the ladies that come into our program, a lot of them have experienced trauma, whether that's recent trauma or childhood trauma from domestic violence, sexual abuse, different things like that. One of the things that is different from a lot of the other facilities here in Fort Wayne is that our women have the advantage of having advocates at their disposal because they are also in the YWCA facility. So if I have a woman come into the Hope and Harriet program and she is experiencing some trauma from recent domestic violence, we can connect them to one of our DV advocates, and they can work with them on restraining orders, court processes, and all of the things that women need to get out of those domestic violence situations. If it's something sexual assault related, we have our sexual assault therapist on site as well as a sexual assault advocate. So we can link them to those services too to help them with their healing process and their recovery journey.
So you have a client or maybe you have a loved one who you identify needs help. The first step is completing that application and sending it to us. It can be sent a number of ways, fax, email, you can send it through the website. You could even pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I need help, or I have a loved one who needs help, and we can complete that application over the phone. We review the application to make sure that you meet the substance use disorder criteria, and then we get you connected with our clinical counselor, and they'll complete a clinical assessment to make sure that you're clinically appropriate for the program. Being a residential substance use treatment facility, we are ASAM Level 1 certified, so we'll determine clinical appropriateness and eligibility for the program. Once all of that has been determined, we will get you scheduled for an intake. On the day of the intake, we will have you come in and complete some paperwork. We will welcome you into the program. We'll introduce you to staff. We'll take you on a tour. We'll complete that initial drug screen, and then we'll get you settled into your room, either an individual room where you may share with a few other ladies, or a family room if you have your children with you in the program.